world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
Well, first, of course, and a massive welcome to my show is my Sunday sermon, which I start the show every week with the big issue of the day. And last week I talked about trust, and we'd been thinking about trust in government, and I was really talking about trust in big pharma. But I think also, given what's happened this week with the Met Police leader, we need to talk actually about leadership and accountability in the public sector, performance, about being held to account, and about the moral integrity of our leaders in the public sector. You see, the world I come from, the world of business, if you're chief exec or chairman, when things go well, you get praised and shareholders are grateful. But if things go wrong, well, you apologise to the board, you learn from your mistakes, and you make sure that you don't make them again. And that's okay once. But if you continue to get things wrong, to make mistakes, then pretty quickly, guess what? Either the board of directors or the shareholders will say, thanks very much, your time's up, you're fired. You get the big heave-ho, the big push. No nonsense, no messing around. Shareholders, quite rightly, expect performance. And we've seen something extraordinary this week because actually, finally, belatedly, the leader of the Metropolitan Police, Cressida Dick, she has now left, or she is leaving. She has resigned because she had lost the confidence of the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Now, it's not often I congratulate Sadiq Khan, but actually, finally, I think he's done the right thing. Cressida Dick realised the game was up, and it's not surprising. The charge sheet against her, frankly, is as long as your arm. Operation Midland, the report into the Daniel Morgan unsolved murder, referring to the Met as being institutionally corrupt, and that Cressida Dick had rejected and blocked research into that report, the BLM demonstrations, the demonstrations into Extinction Rebellion, how the Met Police had looked after that and policed that, contrasting that with the heavy-handed approach to the COVID demos, the fiasco over the Sarah Everard vigil, the report just a few days ago into the vile attitudes of over a dozen police officers in Charing Cross Police Station. That was probably the final straw. But some of those officers, it turns out, have been promoted. And, we are facing a situation where last year, here in London, we had the highest murder rate of teenagers ever. And it was interesting to read in today's Mail on Sunday, even Cressida Dick's supporters, people like Lord Blunkett, said actually finally the time had come. And yet, it's only a few months since she had a contract extended by 2 years by the Home Secretary, by Boris Johnson and Sadiq Khan, with that ringing endorsement, the continuity candidate. And yet here's the thing, even to the very day that she was forced to accept her time was up, she was still trying to hang on, a sense of denial. Where was that sense that actually I've tried for long enough, but it's not working, and I've got, to show some accountability? Essentially, I think that she tried to hang on and continually say that she could turn the ship round. Leaders have to carry the can. And it seems to me that Cressida Dick, she never really apologised. She was always in that sense of denial, in the same way that the Prime Minister is in that sense of denial. And he's sort of apologised, but he hasn't carried the can, has he? Where's the moral integrity of our leaders, of our public services? Because in the same way that shareholders expect performance, we the taxpayers who pay the bills for the public sector, yes, we're the shareholders in the public sector, and we expect performance as well. We want our leaders of our public services, we want them to be held to account. We want them to be exceptional. As the 5th biggest economy in the world, we should have the brightest, the best leaders of our public sector. And yet the cost to us, the taxpayer, of extending Cressida Dick's contract by those few months before now she's had to step down, that's going to cost the taxpayer give or take £500,000 extra money. That's our cash. I say again, as a great nation, we should demand the best leaders that the world can provide, that the UK can provide for our public services. And yet, you look back in the NHS, just last year, there was a change in the leadership as Sir Simon Stevens left. We've got a situation where money has continued to be poured into the NHS, and yet, even pre-pandemic, waiting lists had doubled. We're now told that despite pouring in another $12 billion a year for the next few years into the NHS, waiting lists are going to soar even further over the next couple of years. You might have thought that was a crisis that might require some new leadership. What did the NHS do? What did the government do? They appointed an insider. Even though I know there was an incredibly high quality global leader in healthcare who was on that shortlist, who had a real plan for change. Instead, the government and NHS England have accepted the status quo. They've essentially accepted, we'll pour more money in, but the performance will not be any better. And I just don't think that's good enough. Where were the sanctions for the top Mandarin in the Foreign Office that stayed on holiday for about 12 days, possibly 2 weeks, during the evacuation crisis from Afghanistan last August? There has to be some proper accountability in our public services. And it seems to me that far too infrequently they admit their mistakes, they admit when things have gotten wrong, and they never say sorry. Instead, you get spin and cover-up and obfuscation, when actually I think that we, the public, who pay the bills, I think we want some clear-headed honesty. We all make mistakes in whatever we do, all our walks of life, private, personal, business, whatever. If we were honest about them, if we don't cover them up, and if we say, look, I messed this up, I screwed this up, but we're going to learn from it, we won't do it again. I actually think that we, the public, would much prefer that. And actually, the public sector, our public services, would serve us much better if there was a willingness to accept mistakes and to learn from them. And that's why my view is that this is a key moment, not only for the Metropolitan Police leadership, but actually for leadership of all our police forces across the country. We must not replace Cressida Dick with someone from within the Met. I don't think that we should replace her with someone from within the UK police forces. I think we need bold, ambitious, big change. This is a real moment to press the reset button. I think we need one of the finest leaders from across the world. We need to look for the best, aim for the best, because actually, London is possibly the greatest capital city in the world, and we deserve the greatest leader of a police force in the world. That is my view. That is my Sunday sermon. Call me with your view. Do you think, actually, I'm wrong? Do you think that Cressida Dick should be replaced by someone from within, or should we look wider? Call me, 0344 499 1000. Tweet us at Talk Radio or text 87222. Stay with us. Coming up, we're going to be talking to London Assembly member Sean Bailey, former mayoral candidate, with his views about the replacement for the Met Police Chief.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk Radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.